to the bold analysis. The NTV is leaking exclusive details of an alleged fight between the president and his deputy in Statehouse, moments after the president warned his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, or rather asked his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, to exit government immediately. I want us to look at those exclusive details, critique, question, and interpret the context and the text of that. But before it, I want us first to help Becky. This baby here, Becky, was diagnosed, was actually born with cerebral palsy. So she's already 8. Now, they remember that is a condition that is only managed. However, last year, she had convulsions. I know people who may be dealing this understand. And then she was rushed to the hospital, Kenyatta Hospital. Now, she's been in that hospital for the last 1.5 months, 1 year and 6 months. But within that time, she was in ICU for 6 months. But by God's grace, she came out, but lost her eyesight. The doctors are saying that baby Becky cannot be put under home-based care, just like the same way she was being supported by the family. Father Michael Ronald Kamau, whom I have spoken and who raised this to us, has confirmed to us that the bill remaining is 200,000. I told them and promised them that as Team Bold will try our level best. I'm shooting this video I'm producing is at 1:52 a.m. midnight. This is Sunday night. The amount I have collected is 52,640. 52,000. I believe we'll be closing this later in the week, early in the week. But I promised Michael that we will support to ensure that baby Becky is out of the hospital. The bill is 200,000. Kindly reach out, even as we speak politics. Let's do something so that we can support baby Becky. Any amount you can get, 50, 100, 10,000, even if you know someone who can help through this, I think we will really highly welcome so that we can support. Apart from that, she's supposed to use anticonvulsants. Anticonvulsants, I think I've used the right word, that cost 5,000 per week. So the costs involved in supporting baby Pendo is huge. That is why I'm reaching out to us. Let's support. It has really taken a toll on the family, and the mother even developed some disdain just around the child. But we believe that all is going to be well for baby Becky. So guys, before we look at that video of the report about Ruto fight with Rigathi, take a minute and send something so that we support this baby so that she can be discharged by next week. She's still stuck because of that balance. Now, without much ado, let us listen to this story by NTV.
In 72 hours, the fate of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua will be in the hands of members of Parliament. An unprecedented impeachment motion against the country's second-in-command is expected to be tabled at the floor of the National Assembly on Tuesday afternoon by one of the over 300 members of Parliament who endorsed Gachagua's historic removal from office. While the week-long drafting of the 40-page motion has been a closely guarded affair, NTV has managed to peruse some of the pages of the motion and spoken to a number of lawmakers privy to it in an attempt to identify the charges that will form the grounds for Gachagua's impeachment. The motion has up to 10 charges, top among them being Gachagua allegedly threatened his boss, President William Ruto. Gachagua is accused of literally banging the desk in sheer anger at a meeting with his boss after Ruto denied him 8 billion shillings that Gachagua had asked for to walk away and pave the way for Ruto to appoint his replacement after their relationship turned sour. NTV has been told that Gachagua arrived at 8 billion shillings after multiplying each vote that Ruto got in the Mount Kenya region in 2022 with 4,000 shillings. The second charge is Gachagua has allegedly accumulated billions of shillings in the past 2 years that he has been at Harambee House Annex through corruption. In the charge, Gachagua is accused of allegedly acquiring up to 5.7 billion shillings in just a couple of years, yet his salary per year is 12 million shillings, meaning in the past 2 years he should have made around 24 million shillings. The third charge that is likely to be leveled against Gachagua is use or abuse of his office to allocate public resources to himself. Under the charge, Gachagua is accused of allegedly diverting material that should have been used to construct the Malindi to Kilifi highway to the construction of a private road leading to a hotel in Kilifi that is linked to him. Other charges that are likely to be leveled against the deputy president include sponsoring goons to disrupt the June, July and August Gen Z demonstrations, thus posing a threat to national security, leaking state secrets despite taking an oath of secrecy, as well as intimidating, threatening and publicly slating leaders and state officials such as some members of parliament and most notably National Intelligence Service Director General Nordin Haji. More charges include promoting tribalism through his shareholder and one man, one vote, one shilling narratives, as well as publicly opposing some of the government policies and cabinet decisions. Following these accusations and others, some members of parliament are convinced that Gachagua, having meteorically rose from a first-time MP to the second most powerful seat in the country, has had a great run. Other leaders want Gachagua taken to a court of law should he be impeached.
Ukabila ni kitu mzuri ama ni mbaya? Sisi wote tulani ukabila? Tunasema shetani afanya namna gani? Kenya haiwezi kuwa kabila moja. Kenya haiwezi kuwa mtu moja. Kenya ni ya sisi wote.
Wewe ulipepa Biblia kadanganya Mungu, Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie to run the government, and then you start contradicting the government policies, and yet you sit in the cabinet, you sit in the National Security Committee, and you create a departure. You should be arrested. There's no any country that can tolerate such a person.
David Muthoka, NTV.
Very shocking details, and there is a context to that story. First, I want to look at that story with the journalist's eye. There is a lot of hearsay in that story, and one of the things I want to critique the structure of the story, the content of that story. It would have made more impact, and it would have bring more light and made it more lively if Statehouse would have released that CCTV footage of Rigathi Gachagua banging the table for the president. And they would have also put that context. You remember, it's just a story about banging the door, banging the table. To what context? What was happening? What was in that meeting? What was being discussed in that meeting until it reached there? There is a point of 8 billion that Rigathi multiplied the votes that Ruto got in central Kenya by 4,000, then arrived at 8 billion, and allegedly Ruto had called him for a meeting and told him to leave government. You know, that story doesn't look real. Now, the other context to that story is the fact that it is done on Saturday. So tomorrow on Sunday, the 29th, we expect the Kenya Kwanza Brigade to run with this story in churches that they will be attending to attack Rigathi Gachagua. I will not say more to it. I will try to interpret. But I'm just thinking, take a break. This is the President Ruto speaking in a rally sometime around 2022, going combative against Uhuru Kenyatta.
Na mimi nataka nimwambie rais, wacha kuniletea maneno my friend. Wewe sukuma candidate yako bwana kitendawili. Unaniongelea nini? Sijui kama tunaelewana. Mr. President, please stop talking about me. Talk about your candidate. Tunaelewana? Mtu waambie wewe rais, tuambie huyu mtu wa kitendawili atawacha kungoa reli lini? Atawacha kujiapisha lini? Atawacha kuvuruga Kenya lini? Atawacha mambo ya violence lini? Na utuambie agenda ya huyo jamaa. Wachana na William Ruto. I supported you when you needed a man to support you. If you do not want to support me, leave me alone.
Do you want to tell me this is the gentleman who we are being convinced wanted to fight, was nearly fighting his deputy? Where were his security details? Ladies and gentlemen, something is not adding up. But I want us to interpret the contents of Rigathi impeachment. The 10 points that have been raised. I want us to interpret that keenly. If I am not wrong, and you can, I wish you get me right in this. The context, the text and the charges against Rigathi Gachagua are merely telling the country about a fallout between two gentlemen, Ruto and Rigathi. The country is being treated to a bravado of two men fighting. And if I am not wrong, this vindicates what Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka said, that people are fighting for the loot. Let's get to hear a bit of that.
In religion and in Catholicism, we believe in the emancipation of the spirit. I'm so happy that Gachagua's spirit has been emancipated. He's finally realizing that now the only thing he can do is run to his community and say, whoa, hey, you see they are killing me. I'm your son. I was telling you I was going to bring you the food and the bread. You see they have taken the bread away from my hands and my mouth. I have nothing to offer you now. So please, I'm your son, take care of me. If this system was functional, if we were good leaders, if we were organizing and making sure that this is a system that should be fair, equitable, and reasonable to everybody, where Kenyans are given opportunities to share the national cake, where employment opportunities are publicly put out there and we actually accept meritocracy, where we govern without corruption and these arrangements whereby people are busy sharing the loot. The problem you have, I can tell you the truth, and if Gachagua spoke to me and William did, I would tell them what they're fighting about is about sharing of the loot. How government contracts, how government tenders, how the Adani group is sharing on their own, and the Gachagua is not involved. So he's saying, I don't know what these people are doing. I don't understand which deal they are doing. It's the loot. You go to all the budgetary appropriations which are there. You see in every government department. I can come with that document. Here they put 2 billion, here they put 3, here they put 4, here they put 9. At the end of it, it's 90 billion shillings or 100 that is being shared. That is the loot people are sharing. Promotions of police officers, promotions of teachers are being done by who's in office. What happens to those people who have nobody in office? This is the governance structure that we've inherited from independence. Mzee Kenyatta fought with Jaramogi. What were they fighting about? It is state resources, the distribution of land after Mau Mau. The war started. What was Moi fighting about with Professor Saitoti? What was he fighting with Kibaki? What was he fighting with the guy who was the chancellor at Nairobi University, Mungai? They are fighting about this. People were saying, please, we can't do it this way. We can't be a people who just go and grab public land, where when you have capacity and power, you go and take other people's land and change the documentation. Right now, Ayub, government land which is owned by our universities is being taken by force. And then these people take this land, then take those houses, allocate themselves, create a new company, and go back to the university and tell them, no, you know what? Now you rent these houses from us because they are ours. That is why Kiambi was fired. He was saying, what are you people doing? You have guys who are going to Nairobi West where there's Kirdi land. They are taking Kari land. I mean, this system is so dysfunctional.
Yeah.
So, what we are being told, if you look at the first two charges, and even to the others are just supporting charges. The big charge that is there is that number one, he demanded, and so it is a case of two people fighting. I don't know how the president and Kenya Kwanza want the country to think and feel that Ruto fighting with Rigathi is a bother to us. Ruto fell out with Uhuru Kenyatta. It is not something new. Why didn't Uhuru Kenyatta take an impeachment motion? Even though by that time, Uhuru Kenyatta had also gotten the support of ODM, even though he didn't have a majority. We've seen all stories, but we've not seen a story of at one point Uhuru wanted to impeach Ruto. In fact, it's Ruto who at some point wanted to impeach Uhuru. And so, the Kenya Kwanza are rolling that story to tell us that, banged the table. What is new with that? They fell out. They were in a meeting. They fell out. So two people falling out in a meeting and banging the table is what you table and tell us the country that now let's impeach it. Surely. Even without the evidence. Just still on that point, number one of Rigathi banging the table for Ruto about the 8 billion. There is a hypothesis of the 8 billion. And to me, it looks fake, and it's very shameless. If this is a cooked thing. Rigathi asked for 8 billion. Then even the people that are corrupted that story are saying that they arrived at that story. How do you know that the way Rigathi arrived at 8 billion was because he took the 4 million votes that Ruto got in Mount Kenya and multiplied by 4,000? So he said, so that part has been put to try to tell the Mount Kenyans that Ruto is auctioning their votes. Now, that is very predictable narrative. It is very pedestrian. It's just to control the populace. And that tells you something. I analyzed that. I said that William Ruto knows that that impeachment is very unpopular. In fact, the impeachment was supposed to have been taken to Parliament by Tuesday, Iwiki Meisha. Now it has been pushed to Tuesday next week. Why? The reason why that impeachment has been pushed is because they're still finding ways, because it's very unpopular. And you can see the intention. The intention is very clear. Until you even get a hypothesis, a theory that he arrived at 8 billion after multiplying 4,000 votes in Mount Kenya. There's so many ways of arriving at 8 billion. There is even 2 million, times. How about if he said, is it only 4 million from Mount Kenya? Kikuyu are not only in Mount Kenya. Kikuyu are in Nairobi. Kikuyu are in central Kenya. Gema is in Mombasa. Gema is in diaspora. We want to remind the country, and it's very true, the position is very clear. Rigathi might not be one of the best, the deputy president. But we must be very keen on the threshold. And political fights between two people fighting for the loot cannot be narrowed to put the country in some unnecessary tension. I want to analyze second, I want to interpret second observation from that document on Rigathi impeachment. Those who are accusing, one of the framers of that impeachment are saying that for the last 12 months, not 12 months, for the last 2 years, Rigathi has accumulated 7.5 billion, while his net salary is around 12 million. And so they are asking, and this one I think if you put all the statutory deductions, and so they are saying that that has been accumulated abusing the office of the deputy president. I want to say, number one, that figure is even understatement, if you ask me. Rigathi could be worth more than that. There are stories of Rigathi have bought some hotels somewhere. It is the same William Ruto who dropped some corruption cases against the deputy president. It is the same Kenya Kwanza administration. The first few things that happened when they came to power, they dropped some corruption cases leveled against the deputy president. So if they come now and complain to the country that he has accumulated, well, themselves, they dropped cases and Rigathi had to be compensated, I even wonder. That's one angle. Number two, if Rigathi has allegedly stolen 5.7 billion, then that lifestyle audit should be extended, and they should also tell us how much is worth the president. And what is 5.3 billion? Just last year, a woman was complaining of a 17 billion worth petrol that went missing. Just last year, when Moses Kure was in one of the ministries, there was a scandal of 16.5 billion, an oil importation scandal. Just last year, there was a scandal about some mosquito net. And you can name them. Just last year, there was a discussion about G2G. Even as we speak, there is a discussion about kickbacks of ministers traveling to China and other countries to take kickbacks so that they can give multinational companies tenders to do some things in this country under PIP. Ladies and gentlemen, can the government save us this bravado? Can they do better? If you're telling us you've done lifestyle audit on Rigathi, then give us the whole of it. What is unique with 5.7 billion? Tell us how much is worth the president. Tell us how much these ministers have made. These ministers have been buying houses in Dubai and posh places in this town while we all know their salaries, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't look clear. Number three. So, the story about a road was diverted. Malindi, I used that route, Malindi Kilifi Road, but that's one way. It's very narrow. I don't know that it was supposed to be dual or expanded. And then that was diverted to that hotel. Why are they not naming that hotel? Why do we just say hotel linked to Rigathi? Don't you name that hotel so that the country can do research and find out, is Rigathi linked to that hotel? And again, road construction is under the Ministry of Transport. The two ministers for transport has been Murkomen and now Chirchir. How did Rigathi influence a decision for a road to be diverted? And if it is Kenha, are Kenha going to witness against the deputy president? How is his influence in that decision if it is not just a decision that was made and there was some laxity even in the side of the contractors, the ministers, or even other government agencies that are involved in it? It's exposing what, according to me, is a hearsay. The movers of the impeachment should be man-marked so that we set the threshold of an impeachment. It will be a disaster and a stamp on the 2010 Constitution if 349 MPs will append their signatures to impeach the deputy president because the deputy president has fallen out with his boss while fighting for the loot. But, and I want to look at it also this way. If you look at the accusations against the deputy president, there is only one attempt to try to entangle him with the Mount Kenya voters. But they've tried to depict the picture of the deputy president and pitch him as a man who is self-serving just to draw the hate from Kenyans. And of these corruption scandals, the best thing that should have happened, before even it reaches parliament, someone should get to DCI so that the DCI investigate. MPs are not going to investigate. They're not investigators. And I don't know how they are supposed to make decisions on hearsay or just political emotions. I repeat, this might be an unpopular way. And I've seen some analysts faulting Rigathi for taking Ruto head-on. Rigathi must take Ruto head-on because it is not the 349 MPs that are kicking Rigathi out. It is the president who is kicking Rigathi out. And what started with being denied chopper to being confidential vote reduced to allies being arrested to answer questions of Gen Z is now evolving. And I agree, some people, and I've seen Atwoli, I've listened to Atwoli saying, oh, Rigathi should be arrested. Those are people who are just yes sir, because the president has said yes sir, because they want to sit comfortable with the power. So let Rigathi face that impeachment. Some people have been asking, let Rigathi resign. There is another team that is saying Rigathi is doing the wrong thing by combating the president, taking the president head on. But on this one, if you look at these accusations that have been leveled, do you expect Rigathi to go and keep quiet? I think Rigathi should face the impeachment head on because of these factors. We want to see how Ruto, Raila, broad-based mongrel fellows will behave around this impeachment. And I want to say for the record here, if Raila Odinga will whip ODM members to support this impeachment on these flimsy fake grounds, then I think that will be taking us back to where we were sometimes back. It will be backwardness. This impeachment is going to test what exactly is the agreement between Ruto and Raila. And the way Sifuna has been saying that they're independent and they're not in government, it is time for us to hear ODM speaking out and answering the question, is this a threshold to impeach? Does it meet the threshold to send someone home? Does it meet? I want Rigathi to face this impeachment head-on because the courts are vigilant, and the first of impeachment of its kind after the 2010 Constitution would actually test that article and see the space of court. I am not a lawyer, but the probability of Rigathi impeachment being determined by a Supreme Court is very high. It might end up in Supreme Court. Let the KK fellows come and present to us evidence in Parliament. We want to see, instead of gossips and hearsay here and there, it is time for the country to see what exactly William Ruto is talking about. Thank you.